shorter. Can everybody see me? No, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming to this special occasion. You know, I know Doug would really appreciate it, but everybody coming here, all his friends. Actually, Doug, it's really too bad that he couldn't be here, because Doug always liked a good party, and Doug was always, you know, the light of the room. At any rate, we are disappointed that he can't be here, but we all understand why. But like every good horseman that faces adversity, sometimes we fall off, but we get up on our, fall off and roll on the ground, and then get up and get on our horse, give him a good kick, and carry on. And that's what Doug is doing right now. So he's certainly done a lot for this sport, and I'd just like to say that I was kind of surprised when Doug got, it was announced that Doug got in as a builder. I always looked at him as a rider and a trainer. But on second thought, you know, with Doug, I said, well, you know, maybe that is a good category for him. Because Doug, you know, could go in any number of categories. As Mark said, it could be, you know, rider, trainer, owner, sponsor, promoter, whatever, as well as builder. And he is in it as a builder. And as a builder, he has certainly made his name around and kept his name before all of us. And we certainly know Doug, as Mark said, certainly through the Henry Equestrian Insurance and HEP, or a Henry Equestrian Plan. And you know, there's really, when you look around it, Doug's been in it for a number of years, and there's sponsors and supporters that come and go, but Doug is at nearly every show, and even he does other, you know, different competitions or other events. I just got a copy of our Toronto and North York Hunt yearbook, and there was Doug. He had his name in there. So, I mean, it's, you know, he's just really an all-around guy, and he's really one of the good guys of the sport. Doug, you know, we all have stories of Doug's stories. He's you know, a rider and a trainer. As a matter of fact, he developed your horse Canadiana for you, Tom, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah, and Doug showed him on the team, Tom showed him on the team. He always had, was it Blackbird and Beacon Hill, and and many horses. At one time, I remember, well, he used to be with Doug Hood. Doug was in Oakville area. And anyways, Doug was training with him, and one day they're going out to school, and Doug Hood said, go and, you know, fix up the electric tack pole. Which, people haven't heard of all the poles or anything like this. But anyways, so Doug did, he ran some tape around the wires, but he left a little bare spot by the handle, so that when he pushed the button, who got electrocuted was Hoodie's kind of a sensitive guy. So he was hooking all at that time. But also, we've seen Doug in the we've seen Doug in the schooling ring, you know, and Doug, he kind of monopolized the schooling ring. He jumps at a little 1 foot fence, and he jumps at about 50 or 60. And he pulls out his favorite jump, which is the tarp. And he jumps in another 50 or 60 times. And I was recalling with his good friend and well, longtime friend and good buddy, Gordy Cooper. And Gordy was saying, I remember that one show, it was a windy day, and out the schooling ring was blowing. Couldn't keep the tarp down. And Doug was, you know, they were trying to get it down, and the schooling, Doug was, come on, he started nattering at him, and got flustered and everything. Gordy said, I'm not a goddamn weatherman. And then he went on to say, you know, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to call it the tarp and the goofball. But and today I was asked to give, I spoke actually in this room at the card lunch, and I didn't make this up, but anyway, after I finished, I went out, I was down in the parking lot, and I found that my fly was open. But anyway, my pants are good. It's all right. But I know if Doug was here and saw it, he wouldn't come up to me and say quietly, you got to make yourself properly. He'd wait till I stood up here and say, Elder, your fly's open. I didn't have to think of Doug today, that was good. He was here. But at any rate, and my Doug story is, I was having a few years ago a problem with my hip. It would keep locking up, and it took me between 15 minutes sometimes, and 3 hours to unloose it. I was rubbing it, poking it, and everything like that. Well, Doug knew the problem. He phoned me and said, listen, I think I have a person that can help you. So he came over and picked me up, and we drove to Lindsay. And there's this lady there, and he said, oh yeah, I said, I got a lot of faith in her. It was just a little wee place, and so he hooked me up, she hooked me up with the pads and the wires to a machine, and she was fiddling around this machine for 5 or 6 minutes, and she unhooked me and said, but you go out, I want to study this, you go out into the other hallway and wait for me. So she calls back in about 10 minutes, she said, I know what's wrong with you. And I know why your hip is being all tied up and can't move it. It's snakes. I said, snakes? I said, yeah. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, how many? She said, 9. They're all wrapped around your joint, hip joint. You can't move it. And of course, I started biting my tongue. I looked at Doug, and he was serious. And I was like, he was looking at me and said, well, no, she's really good. I said, well, how do I get rid of the snake? And she says, well, what you do. First she asked me how I was. I said, well, I'm not too bad. I'm standing and walking. But anyway, so she said, well, you go back home, and when you feel it tighten up, you phone me. So about 3 days later, I phoned her. She said, okay, just a minute, I'll hook up the machine. You're back. Guess what? It didn't work. So Doug, not saying, I told him that, and he said, oh, I got another guy. So I went over to his place. I was on the way to Port Perry, and into his house, and I laid down. The guy manipulating, was poking around, laughing. And he said, how's it feel? I said, does it feel any different? I said, no, not really. So we climbed up in the chair, and the next minute I was lying on my tummy, and the next thing, he was on my back, jumping up and down. And I was trying to laugh, and I couldn't, and I was sitting there. So anyways, that was her, and I said, Doug, it's not working. And anyway, the moral of the story is, it isn't that Doug does things differently. It's that Doug will go to great lengths for his friends, and he's got a heart of gold. Yes. So that's my Doug story. And as I said, he's a good guy. And Doug, I don't know if anybody been here, and I like to say that Doug, we're here for you. You've been a great asset to the sport for all these years, and we're here to get you inducted, along with Tommy, me, and a bunch of other 44 other people, into our Jump Canada Hall of Fame. So that's his name. See, okay, fine. Okay, fine.